I personally believe through hard work you can do well, and it is not about the PhD, but in any domain, any work, right? Then perseverance is another important aspect, because in PhD it is not very easy going. Okay, I would say. So don't be scared, because PhD, the property, one of the properties of the PhD is like that. It is not very smooth, not very easy going. So you have to keep trying for anything, for your research, for your, you are unable to you are unable to get a particular solution, or maybe your paper is getting rejected multiple times. So for all of this you should have this perseverance. That is very important. Then dedication is another important aspect. That dedication through like whenever you are doing PhD, you have to dedicate yourself in the research, otherwise it is difficult. Along with that, confidence. But confidence, whenever you are confident, try to remember one thing, that it is, there is some hairline difference between overconfident and confident. So confidence is to some extent is good, but not that much. That means you are saying something wrong to a big stalwart, so this is not very good. It will carry some negative impacts also, right? Then willingness is another, like willingness to learn, to explore, to different things. That is very important. Then commitments, you have to be committed. You have to be committed that if I have done, I have given this responsibility, or I have taken this responsibility, I should have the commitment in this particular part of the work. So dedication is, I think it is repetitive. Yeah, dedication and learning. Learning is another important. You have to continue your learning, and thinking capabilities is also required, because whenever see the term is like philosophy, right? Doctor of philosophy. So philosophical, whenever we think about the philosopher, the thinking is directly related to this. So you have to always think about your research problem, then in which direction you will be approaching, you will be moving. So all of these things are related to thinking. I mean, if you can think it properly, maybe one of your 100 times it can click something and you can get your solution, or you can get a direction. Then sacrifice is another important thing. So many things are there. Your personal life is there, your family life is there, and all of the PhD candidates, they may not be equally like blessed, equally they may not be from the very good background, financial, or maybe family may not be, all are may not be very educated. So many things, it is different, and some are maybe very educated. So all these things, all of us we have different scenarios, right? So in order to proceed further or completing your PhD dedicatedly, we need to have many sacrifices. Sometimes there may be some problem in our personal life also, but that should not affect your PhD. You have to clearly distinguish your family life, your personal life from your PhD. Then time management. So you are very good in research. You know how to do work, how to do a solution. But the uh, important thing you can say, that time, because everything is time bounded. You have to understand that, for example, if you are thinking today a research problem and it is very novel, maybe tomorrow is someone is doing this. So so uh, it is better to stick into your like deadline, and you should complete the work in the stipulated amount of time. Then presentation, it is not only your research. You have the research capabilities, you can produce novel ideas, but you are unable to present it properly. In present in any, means any sense. I mean, it can be in paper, it can be in your in seminar, in workshop. So that presentation skill is also very important. Then concentration. So it is somehow related to you can say the thinking or dedication. Like concentration is something, so you have to be very focused, very you have to concentrate the part of the work that you are exploring. Then ignorance is another important aspect, because ignorance, why I am saying this, because PhD, it may be long journey, it may be short journey, it is not defined. And in this journey you may get many of the comments, compliments, right? But through that comments or compliment, you should not change your motivation, you should not change your direction, you should not, I mean, any impact should not be there on your work, right? So you have to learn to ignore the what people are saying. And humble is another important thing, because in our life it is very true that in different phases we learn different things. Maybe every day we're learning something, and it is not like he or she is my junior or he or she is my senior. It is not like that. If you are learning something from someone, so you should be humble for that, uh, and so that you can grab more. Okay, so all of these are the building blocks of doing a good PhD. These are not only some adjectives that I am written randomly. It is not like that. Every, you can find each and every word. It has its own meaning in order to pursue PhD. Okay. Now, what is PhD we have done? Okay, it is not only highest academic degree, but there are back end who is not in this particular PhD thing. It is very difficult to for them to realize those things. Yeah, they may learn in the process. Maybe someone is working without PhD, they also can learn the same thing, or they can go through the same phases, but with experience, with work, with they can learn, right? But in PhD, in this 4 5 years, whatever it is, you have to be you have to follow all these things in order to get a good PhD. Now, let us discuss my journey. Okay, so I completed almost all work of my PhD. So particularly in PhD, I worked on 6 research problems, and I started it in 2015 and completed in March 2020. So I delivered the synopsis seminar during April. Then April itself, I started applying for the postdoc positions, and started writing the thesis. Then in May 20, the thesis was submitted, and I received the first interview call for the postdoc. During May to August, I applied throughout the world in different for getting a postdoctoral position, and that was the very peak time for COVID. It was very peak time. So it was very difficult, really, it was very difficult to get a suitable position, or even an interview call. So I tried a lot to get, and see, most of the people from US, they were saying we are struggling to get funding. Now we don't have funding. It is not normal. It is impacted our countries, so much impacted. So like that. And from Australia also, I found that they are saying that they are all the money government is giving to for COVID, so we don't have that much of funding. These sort of comments I received, so I remember all those things. That's why I'm discussing all these things. And fortunately, I received few from Europe, two from Canada. So out of those, before submitting thesis, before defending the thesis, I had three position I was offered. Okay, so uh, then I defended my thesis at November. That at that time also there was not new normal. It was like continuation of COVID only. But still, I decided to go to. I received from Canada. I received from Italy. I received from France and Luxembourg. So finally, I selected Luxembourg due to several reasons, and their offer was really very like it was extraordinary offer, I would say. So I selected, and the most important thing, the supervisor that I with whom I worked in postdoctoral research, he was a very nice person. And after going over there, I realized the same. and in that way I would say that I'm very fortunate in that. And after going over there also, I received three more postdoctoral research, because that was the continuation of the, you can say, from April to the next year April, because due to the COVID, it was, everyone was stuck and it was not open. So it was a very bad situation. So finally I was stick to in Luxembourg, and I got an offer from UBC, that is University of British Columbia in Canada. That was among the top 50 universities in all over the world, but still I did not move due to several reasons. And finally I was stick into that, and I completed a 13 month of uh, postdoctoral research. So in between that, I received offer from for job at Nottingham University, UK, and your triple history city. So I wanted to come back to India. It is your own perspective what you want to do in your life. So I wanted to come back to India. So I started working. Now I, after serving 1 year at triple history city, I started working. Now this was my story, right? But the common challenges in your PhD, that see, many of you are aware of few of them, but I tried to write it in the very formal ways, and tried to write it in the very constructive way. I tried to pitch it to you like this. So let's see. Uh, Whenever you are completing your masters, or you let us say you are completing your BTech degree, right? So you are new in this thing. You are new into the uh, research world, right? So at that moment, it is very difficult to understand that what is the research is like. It is very difficult. You cannot determine also, like it is a big ocean, and there are different uh, traditional, non-traditional approaches are there in research. So that is very difficult to understand. All of a sudden you are getting into the research. Okay. So but with time, it is definitely, it gets changed, and you will learn. You are in the system, so you will learn all the pros and cons, and which direction you should go. Now after that, in the sequence, if you'll say, so selecting a suitable research subdomain, that is also important, correct? Because see, in your domain, my domain is IoT, but in IoT, what to search, what to do, that is also important, because you have to stay with your subdomain for your 4 or 5 years, and you have to get the required number of problems in that subdomain. So selection of this subdomain is very much important. And yes, for that, supervisor is there, they can help you out, but the determination, your final decision will be yours, that in which domain you want to pursue your PhD. Then after that, you are getting into the subdomain. Then you have to finding out the problem. Again, you will face the same problem. Like you will find lots of researchers. They are working across the globe on different research problems. But finally, you have to select, or you have to find out your research problem, and that should be novel. That should be unique, so that it is easy to prepare the or the create your PhD thesis, right? Now, another thing, now I am also a supervisor, but still I would like to say this thing, like meet the expectations of the supervisor. In that sense, I was very lucky, I would say, and I believe all the SWAN members are also very lucky. Our supervisor was very supportive, and in that way, like in initial problems when we used to search, he used to discuss, used to give a proper shape in that problem by asking many questions and all. And we had the culture of having weekly seminars also. So it was it was difficult, but not that much. We have to defend the questions, but in the process, your problem will be like very strong. Then your solution approach designing is another thing. Then performance evaluation, you have to compare with the other existing results, and how is your work is different, and there are different different aspect of your research problem that you have to incorporate and so on. Then you know the problem, you know the solution, you have done this thing, but you have to represent it, you have to highlight it, all these things in the research paper. So that is also important. So for that you have to learn. Through the process you will be learning that how to do, how to seeing the others paper, or let us say some good research paper like some IEEE transactions or ACM transactions. So you can follow those paper, and you'll know the trend, and you can put all the research, all the solution problem, whatever it is, in that form, so that you can also you will be able to write the paper. And but it will not come in one day. After multiple iterations, multiple writing multiple papers, automatically this will come. Okay, but you have to be serious on that. Then comment addressing and paper rejection, that is very common. If you are getting some like in submitting in some journal, so in one at one go it will be accepted, it is very unlikely, very very unlikely. So you will get in best case you will get some comments, and that is like some minor comments. So you have to know the addressing those comments. Okay. And then paper rejection, that is again common thing. When it will be rejected, it is very difficult to keep like cool and handling those comments, and you may be like derailed, I will say. Like you may be the distracted when you are getting some negative news like rejection, right? So these things, this is not only for one paper, like point number 9 that I say, repetition of step number 3 to 8, that will come again and again, because unless you are completing all your research problem for your thesis, so it will continue, right? Then after you have this paper, but after your paper maybe you have the research problem, so you have to present it properly in different seminar, and you have to defend your work. Some all the loopholes that you had, that can be modified through the seminar or some presentation, right? So finally it will reach to the thesis writing after considering multiple iterations, multiple papers. Then that is also an important aspect. And finally thesis defending. So all of these things are, if you see, these are the challenges, and you have to face if you are doing a PhD, right? And that is very difficult to know, difficult to know prior to that what to do. What in the process you have to learn, you have to be intelligent to tackle these challenges. And for one paper, it is first paper it is very difficult, second paper it is comparatively easier, then easier. So one time will come, you will be trained. So PhD is all about training yourself, trained through different scenarios. Okay. And you are through different scenarios you are getting into the PhD. And whenever you are you see, the system like input, then process, then output. So all you are in a process now. Okay, input you are giving, or uh, something you received from your like previous batch or senior student, but now you are in the process. Whenever you are getting out, that will be the like complete transformation, I would say. Okay. So research paper is the important part of the any PhD program. And the research paper select correct journal and conference venues. That is also important, but that is again with the help of your PhD supervisor. You can get into this, and they are, as they are typically experienced, so they can decide that where to submit the paper. But your idea, your research, that is very important to put all those things together in the limited number of pages. That is very important, and that may not be possible always, because whatever you are writing in the research paper, that should be very effective. That is not any vague discussion or something you are putting and it will be accepted. You should not expect like that. So it should be very methodical. It should be like very like it should look like a research paper, and really there is some content in the research paper that can be helpful for the research communities. So in that way, and your problem should be novel. Everything should be very in a confined manner, very constructive manner, very like structured way. You have to put in the research paper. Then another one is the automatically you will get some it is very obvious that you will be getting some journal if you are submitting something in the journal paper, so you will be getting some review. So analyzing those reviews, that is also important. That means the reviewer, they may be different part of the world, so they may comment anything and they are into the research in different domains, right? So they are what they are trying to ask, what is their question exactly, that is very much important. That is very much important to analyze, so that you can reply like you can reply properly in the proper fashion. You can address the comment. Then reading the reviewer's mind, this is one thing. You have to understand the uh, reviewer's questions. Second thing is you have to know that what they are expecting from you. That is very important. Okay, so so you have to reply the this correctly as expected from the reviewers for the paper, and don't be frustrated when there is some rejection. Okay, so I think I'm not remembering now. Probably the Thomas Edison. There was a quote, right? Say, I did not fail for 1,000 times, something like that. But I learn new things, right? The reason of the failures. So same way, don't be disheartened when you are getting some rejection. That is the process of any PhD. Okay, rather you try to focus that the find out the reason why it is rejected, why it is what was wrong in that, why it was rejected. So try to find out that and try to improve your it in your next work or in the same work, because review is very important, right? So these are about the research paper. Then general suggestion will be like work hard, okay, in different ways along with the basic building blocks that I discussed. So work hard, that is very important. Then ignore what people say, because people may comment many things, right? Yeah, around yourself people may comment in many things, people may think many things, but uh, that may not be important in your research, right? That should not affect your research, correct? For that, for the you have to learn ignoring those comments, right? Because who are commenting, they are not in the same place or same position that you are in, right? So their question paper of their life is different, and our my question paper is different, your question paper is different in life. So you have to reply, you have to answer it accordingly. There is no similarities at all. Okay, then submit multiple research paper and manuscript, so that you can have the higher probabilities of getting more number of publication. And quality and quantity both are equally important, and I have this personal experience because I appeared in many postdoctoral research position, and it depends. Somewhere they want very quality, somewhere they want quantity. So that's why both are important. And theoretical research is very much important, but the current trend of all over the world, they are asking that what is the utility or the applications of the this theoretical research. Is there any application in the real life? It can it solve some societal problem? Then try to file at least one patent. It is dependent on the supervisor if they want or not, but it is good to have one file patent. And learn to write research project and proposals also, because this PhD is the your training session. Okay, so you in the process you try to learn these things. It will come in use in future, because immediately after your PhD you have to apply for the postdoctoral research. So for postdoctoral research you need to submit the project proposal. Okay, so that is very important. Then you try to present your work in your research community and attend seminar, conferences, and workshops. So you can take the comments, and you stay motivated, and you should have the zeal to, like, do some innovative work and new research direction, to give some research direction to the community. You should have those things. You have to dig into the research. And towards the end of your PhD, try to keep ready your motivation letter, your research proposal, then recommendation letters and or referees and slides for your postdoc applications or any interview also. This you have to keep yourself with very handy. Then opportunities that I personally believe that one PhD student can get, this learn to do research, that is very common. Then technical growth, whenever you are into the research system, so it is very obvious that you will be getting some this technical growth, right? And new directions you can explore. You will get to explore new direction, new research direction you can explore. Then decision making, correct decision making, because in different phases you will be able to find this particular point, this decision making. You have to take decision by yourself, right? Whether the reviewer is saying that is correct, if it is correct, then how to address those things. If it is wrong, then how to do these things. So every decision, all the decisions. So whether I should submit the paper in this journal, if I am submitting, if it is good to submit over there. Then logical defense, that is whenever, see, we are the researcher, okay, we are into the research. So we should have this logic. Whatever we are saying, we should have logic. So you will learn to defend something in logic. It is not only in research, you see, if you are in PhD program and you are completing, you are giving 4 5 years, automatically you will have the logic in your mind for everything. In your normal life also you'll find you are thinking everything in the with some logic. Okay. Then research visit, that is the like in PhD you can visit in different countries, different locations, different universities, so you will have more and more exposure in that. So you will learn their culture, apart from your technical thing, your culture. You will know the how the people are. So these are the added advantage. Okay. Then overall experience, for my experience, I would say it is wonderful from very beginning. But it was really, I completed masters, MS by research, then PhD. So I faced many hurdles in, honestly speaking, in MS. I was not prepared to complete my MS degree from at the beginning, from IIT Kharagpur. But I overcome those hurdles through different things. Uh, I have, and one of the reason, I would say, my hard work. So I was not very intelligent. Now even I'm not very intelligent person, but hard work sometimes it is better to it can work better, right? So frustration was there because there was different failure during my MS, but all these things were recovered during my PhD, because that training I already got in my MS. So those things overcome, and I got into PhD, and that was comparatively smooth, and learned a lot, technical and non-technical both. And I had a great exposure in different India, abroad, different things, different activities across the globe. I attended and I was part of that. Then I would say I invested 10 years at IIT Kharagpur, and I grown up there with my PhD. Try to understand this thing, because I completed my BTech. I was in a job, but I believe I was very like I was not complete. I grown up over there only at IIT KGP with MS and PhD. And I was blessed and fortunate to participate in different activities across the globe, that, as I mentioned. And I felt that it is a complete transformation from input to output again with some process. Then I had to do project handling, student mentoring, research manuscript writing, organizations of workshop, short-term courses. So I learned many things, and overall experience was very good. And in my PhD I like to do that. In the During the MS time, At the beginning of 1 year, it was very tough, and I did not like at all. But after I'm past, and so I learned all those things, and I love to do these things. So finally, in future, like in postdoc, probably this is the final slide. In post PhD, you have multiple opportunities. First one is postdoc. I am taking it, but after postdoc also you can do all these things like academia, industry, and government research. You can go, but postdoc also immediately after PhD, you can go into the postdoc. You can have in academia, in industry. In academia, maybe in any university. In the industry also, different industries are there in India and abroad who gives postdoc now, give chance to do postdoc. Then academia, you can have pure teaching in private and government sector in different university colleges. In academia, other part is the teaching and as well as research. It can be also again private and government, and nowadays there are many private colleges, universities are very good in both teaching and research. They are really doing very well. Then in industry, you may have the research industries or corporate or development, maybe the Microsoft. There are some in Hyderabad, there is uh, Microsoft, and they are doing the development. But in Samsung R&D, like Cisco or your Siemens, they are doing the research. Their industry, they are doing research. And finally, the government research organization like CSIR, DRDO, they are also working. So this was my last slide. So I explained whatever I felt. I tried to cover everything. Now, if you have any question, you please feel free to ask.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Roy, for your wonderful presentation. It was not only extremely insightful, like I would say, it was actually motivating also to a lot of PhD scholars who are here. Like we are personally going through several of the points that you have raised, so we actually feel as to what you are trying to say. So thank you very much for this presentation. Among the audience, I welcome anyone. If you have any questions, you can ask. You can unmute yourself, turn on your camera if possible, and ask the question, or you can also type it in the chat box.
Yeah, and it can be anything, any question if you want to ask, or anything you want to discuss. Sir, is it possible to get a good stipend without having gate and net? Yeah, it is from Parag, I think. Parag, here I would say, see, your question is, it is yes. Okay, it is yes, because there are different consultancy projects in with different universities. So if you are getting to that, you can have it. Okay, but if we say about the PhD, don't think that much uh, of money, because it is really, you cannot compare. Because see, I have also done PhD and postdoc, and someone is there who is after PhD is working in some industries, right? So they are getting paid three times, two times than me, right? But I am not getting. So there is no relation at all. But you can, if your answer is yes, obviously, but don't think in that direction. I mean, two are on the opposite track, you can say.
Okay. Any more questions from the audience? Before
Sir,
that, I would like to say that in the chat box, the attendance sheet, the link to the attendance sheet has been floated. So all of you who are present, please go to that link and fill up the attendance sheet so that we can record your attendance. Yeah. So you can go ahead with the questions.
Hello.
yeah. So yeah, I think Mr. Santosh.
Oh,
Okay,
I
so a
have.
question came on chat box. Satyam Sharma asked, "Hi sir, how to publish papers in SCI journals quickly? Any tips, sir? I am a PhD student."
Okay. So for this, I would say, like, quick publication, it is very difficult to say. It is all about. It is dependent on many factors. First is you are submitting the paper in a journal that you typically there are some for the editors there are some predefined deadlines, but see, all the editors are they are busy with their normal activities also, so they cannot promise that it will be given you the first set of comments in 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. It is very difficult to say. One thing is that. Second is the reviewers are also busy, right? It is very difficult because I was there in some editor of some journal. I know the situation, that's why I'm telling you. It is very hard to say. And personally, it was, I started is 2014 I started, but submitted in 2015, and it was finally published in 2020. And it was like 3 4 journals they told out of scope. Then finally one journal went through 2 rounds of reviews were there, and they, when they are saying that it is out of scope, that is, let us say, after 6 months they are saying. So there is no predefined, that is the, that's why the another way, another approach is submit multiples in multiple journals. That is the good. Okay. And Srilata, yeah, Srilata, that is the pill. Tell me few good journals. See, it depends on the area, right? In my area, it is the topmost, if you can say, the TNet, IEEE Transactional Network. So, and others are also there, like services computing in my domain. But in your, I don't know your domain, so it will be easier for me to answer. And sometime I may not be the right person to tell you if your domain is different. So, Balaji, sir, how to select a good problem statement for research work? Yeah. So this is, say, this is very trivial approach of doing research. First thing is your, uh, like, you have to go through the um, research papers. Those are existing in the literature. Okay. So this literature survey, it should be very strong. You have to go through with different papers of different directions. You have to, then you have to understand those things, that what they are, the authors are going to do with those work. You try to find out some flaws in their work. Okay. Or let us say you should find out that how to how where their work, their proposed problem and solution will not work. Okay, that is not applicable. You can hit that point, that in this situation their work may not perform well. So you try to that as negative point, or let us say the loophole, and you try to provide some solution. That is one approach. Okay. How can get funding for my PhD work? There are many options. One is projects through institutes, fellowship, through CSR fellowship. Then many fellowships are there nowadays, like PMRF. Then your TCS used to give, and Google is there, Microsoft is there. Many fellowships are there for there. I can get. And Srilata again, oh, it is image processing with machine learning, sir. See, Srilata, I am not very much like aware of the domain, but in machine learning, I know this PAMI is very much uh, like reputed. I know a little because I heard this thing. Okay, and image processing also. See, and good journal means it is typically IEEE transactions are good, are considered across the globe. It is recognized, it is well recognized that this is very good. Like these are very good typically, any IEEE transactions. Okay, and may not be the impact factor always says that whether a journal is good or bad, but because it depends on the many factors. Your impact factor, it is the score, that depends it depends on many factors, like your how much old the journal is, how much submission they are getting, so many factors. Okay, so you have to find it on your, and it is better to have some discussion with your supervisor. Any more question? Anything else? Sanjay, hi sir, thank you for highly appreciable to a PhD scholar. As you said, submit the paper in multiple journals. My question is that it is ethical to submit a paper into multiple journal. Most of the journal are taking the no. This is not absolutely not ethical. Like same work you cannot submit in, forget about journal, multiple venues. You cannot do that. So you have to, your work should be different. It is completely different, and you have to hit those things. So that's why whenever you are selecting the problem, but like first problem you are selecting, a second problem should be different, but at the same time it is better to have when people will say, they should think like that these are two different domain, different problem. Okay, so in that way you can think. uh, Good evening, sir. I have two questions. Yeah, please go ahead, Gauri Shankar Das.
Sir, good evening.
Hmm.
Sir, my first question is, sir, if somebody completes a good PhD in the field of IoT or wireless sensor network,
Correct.
sir, then what are the various career options are available in private as well as in government sectors?
No, first is your choice first, because you, if you want to see, from for me it is from beginning it was academia. Okay, but for you, if you want to go to industry, so you have many industries nowadays, and like as I mentioned, that Siemens is there, Samsung is there, then your IBM research is there, Google is there, Microsoft. So you can select those path, and other options are like your private and government sectors, like your government organizations are there, like ISRO, CSIR, then many different government organizations, and academia. In academia we can say the different institutes who are more focused toward the teaching, or the institutes like who are like more focused in both teaching and research. So that is in private, government, many things. But you have to be very determined. Okay, and you can start with the your preference can be the with the best one. You can start.
Thank you, sir. Sir, my second question is, sir, how many hours a day a PhD scholar need to work to get a good PhD?
See, this is for this there is no specific answer. Okay, I'll not take the name here. Okay, because my juniors are also there from Swan Lab. They knows, I guess. Uh, See, I used to work for a longer duration of time,
Yes,
but that student, he or she, whatever it is, used to do work for a specific amount, like 9 to 5. But his or her overall CV, it is really extraordinary. So the time that he or she was investing in that was very effective. But for me, it was not. So you may not have that answer. But yes, if you will work hard, so I believe that you can also do well.
thank you, sir. Thank you also, sir, for giving a nice presentation. You inspired us a lot. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So Satyam Sarma, is content generated through AI acceptable in research in longer scenario? It is. See, yesterday only I attended a seminar regarding this thing, and the type of the question is similar that you were asking. It is yes, because AI as a whole, it is coming. At least for the last few years it will be there, but we don't know in future. Like always, typical observation is like for a decade some technology comes, then it goes, not goes exactly like that, is again suppressed, again it can come. So that thing happens. So AI is, I believe it is the now peak time, and it will be there in the in future for different applications.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. How can someone build network with top researchers and PhD people in his or her domain? See, this is another important aspect. See, top researchers, you are saying top means they should be really top, not in the sense that the volume of the publications, but their publications venue, their type of the work, their quality of the work. You should consider them as top researchers. This is number one. Second thing is building network. See, no, none of the researchers, I believe, that if I have nothing, okay, I have only one conference paper, let us say, and I will send them email, it is very unlikely that they will be willing to uh, like work with you or collaborate with you unless you don't have anything independently. It is very difficult to get into that network or to approach some researcher. I see in my PhD. Fortunately, my research publications or research profile was good. Fortunately, by God grace and uh, through this extraordinary supervision of Professor Sudeep Mishra, so it was good. So for my case, it was easy to approach at least. Okay, but then also I did not receive the reply from all the researcher, right? So it is very difficult. So you should have something, you earn something, then you try to apply. And Paragdas, again another question, sir, will it be a bad idea to enroll in PhD program after 30? Not absolutely bad idea, because see, one thing from personal viewpoint, I would say 30 means you will have, after that you will have family, you will have responsibilities. In that way you have to handle those things. But after 30, if you have capability to complete your PhD in 3 years, then it is absolutely fine. But you have to make sure that you will be completing in 3 years, and there is no certainty in that. For that you have to work very hard, you have to submit more amount of paper, then only it is easier. Otherwise, from say personal front, many things will come, many responsibilities will come. So it is always, actually I did this mistake after my BTech. I spent around 1 year, so I could have do it in 1 year before. And typically for Indian central government jobs, it is 35 years is the bar, but in few of the institute it was 32 years. It is not bar, I would say, but it is, they used to write that preferably 35 years, preferably 32 years, like that. So in that, it may be risky a little bit, but I would not demotivate you. You should try. If you really want to do PhD, you can do it, because you have 5 more years in your hands, and that is enough for doing PhD. Anything else? Any question?
So, any more questions do any of the audience have?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes,
Sir, how this postdoc is different to PhD? Means what are the different activities we have to perform during a postdoc?
correct. So PhD is that is the, in a streamlined fashion. You are in the, typically you are doing research, you are publishing paper, your paper is published, you are writing thesis, right? These are the normal steps in short. But in postdoc, it is it is more than that, in the way that you are, as if you are also at par with your supervisor. That means whatever he is doing or she is doing, your supervisor is doing, you are doing the same thing. For example, you are giving the research problem to the PhD student, you are mentoring the PhD student, you are writing the project proposals. You are, because this is the important thing, because in my this postdoctoral interview, many of the interviews I faced, they asked that how many proposals you have written, out of those how many were accepted, whether you know how to write a proposal. All these experiences that you are gathering in the your PhD, that is applicable in postdoc, and postdoc is more likely to a job. It is an experience, right?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And Sir Balaji again, sir, how many papers have to publish for PhD degree submission at IIT KGP? I don't know. In my time, it was a, I think, two SCI journal. Okay, but as I was in again in Swan Lab, so it is very normal thing to publish two journal. It is they knows, I think, other members of who are present here, they knows. Like it is very common. So there is no specific requirement for. I mean, it depends. It vary. Here it is IIT Patna. Recently they made it three SCI journal. At IIT Kharagpur it was two SCI journal. So it depends. But current situation I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so maybe we have time to take just one additional question if anyone has. Okay, if not, then like I do not have any question to Dr. Roy, but I would like to mention three words that Dr. Roy mentioned while giving his like while delivering his talk as to what are the like qualities or sort of what are the qualities that a PhD research scholar should have while doing his or her PhD. And so Dr. Roy mentioned a lot of like many important qualities, but I personally like three of them. Number one is of course the dedication and sincerity, that is top post. But two other things that I liked is sacrifice and ignorance. Like these like are only those who are doing the research in their lives, I believe they know the meaning of these two words, that what kind of sacrifice we have to make and we have to go through in our daily lives, and both in our personal as well as professional fields. And the ignorance, it is a big thing. Like we'll get to hear a lot of things from different people, and many people who themselves may perhaps they are not doing PhD, or they have not done PhD, or they're perhaps not aware of how things work. So I'm not saying what they are saying is wrong, or like they mean us bad. That is not the case. But the thing is that because they are not aware of how things work in a PhD life, so they are just stating those things, and we as research scholars have we have to ignore it. Like that's the end of the day. At the end of the day, we need to ignore. So yeah, dedication, sincerity, sacrifice, and ignorance. These four are the very prime keywords. And thank you, Dr. Roy, very much for presenting this wonderful session. And I must say, this was one of the best talk that we had in our SBCs throughout the year. Very engaging, very interesting, and we have a lot of participants. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks to all the participants for
Okay. So
discussing with me. Thanks
before
for the
we
an
close,
entire activity.
yeah,
Yeah.
before we close, I just want to share my screen once again. So I hope my screen is visible. So this is a small token of appreciation, Dr. Arijit Roy, that we would like to present to you on behalf of IEEE Computer Society Student Branch Chapter for delivering the talk on today. So we thank on behalf of all the audiences and other SBC members, I thank you personally for taking out your valuable time and giving us this talk. And finally, at the end, I would like to ask the audiences or those who are present that we will be taking a screenshot. So, if it is possible, please, switch on your cameras. So, we will be taking a group screenshot. And I request Kumarjit to please take the screenshot and let me know once done. Okay, so no. We'll wait for few people are still turning it on. Okay, yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, every one of you, for joining us today, this evening. And thank you again, Dr. Arijit Roy, and
Thanks.
all the audiences present here. We hope that we will be able to, bring to you another interesting event soon. Thank you. Bye bye. Good
Thanks.
night.
Bye.